The idea of the devil, evil incarnate, has irresistible symbolic force, and the character of Lucifer inhabits our greatest literature from Paradise Lost to Faust. But what about the devil not as a symbol, but as an actual willful being, a fallen angel in Christian belief that can not only affect human events, but enter human bodies?
I do believe the devil is real. I've had occurrences and experiences in my life where I believe I've seen the devil. I've seen demons. But you don't see Satan in the same way that you and I are looking at each other.
How do you know that someone is possessed by a demon rather than just someone who's under tremendous psychological strain?
There are specific signs. For example, if a person has an aversion to walking into a church and not being able to view a crucifix or an image of Christ. Another sign could very well be if a person possesses a competency in a language that they otherwise couldn't speak. They can take on a serpentine look and coil up in a very serpentine body language manner.
Señora, ¿cómo se llama él? Segundo. ¿Cuántos años tiene? Segundo, ¿cuántos años tiene? 18. Ya, ¿verdad? Salió de una casa. Hijo. Ey, tranquilo, segundo, hijo.
Strange things happen at one mansion in Vicksburg.
I've had doors slam in front of me. I've had glasses in the middle of the table, just shatter for no reason.
The best word for it, unexplained. An untouched chair shaking, an untouched ball spontaneously rolling down the steps. Thomas Tarver takes care of the mansion.
And they hit this house about 7-8 times.
According to Tarver, a man named Duff Green lived in the house with his wife and daughter during the Civil War. Tarver says Green used the house as a hospital for soldiers to keep Union soldiers from bombing it.
I've had about 67 encounters with a Confederate soldier holding his severed leg.
Tarver used to run it as a bed and breakfast, but his guests kept having mysterious complaints.
And I've dealt with a lot of people even in the middle of the night that claim to have seen things.
I was sitting in a chair and we were just talking amongst ourselves, and all of a sudden I heard a little girl whisper in my ear.
Me and Sally saw a figure right there. Sally saw the orb, I saw the figure, and he was standing right there and going back and forth.
And we checked out Duff Green's office, and what we saw left us spooked. An ordinary flashlight sitting on the counter untouched, flickering on and off without anyone touching it.
Basically, I just say keep an open mind. Anything is possible. I mean, we don't know what's really out there, and I don't know, I've always just had an open mind to it. And I've had experiences that I can't explain.
House caretaker Thomas Tarver says he'd be happier without all these mansion mysteries.
I was in a room by myself. I was at home and I was lying in bed, and then I felt that something entered the room, and I couldn't see anybody, and suddenly I could feel that somebody was touching me.
Incubus. Incubus is basically the male version of succubus. Like his female counterpart, the incubus will drain the strength and life energy from his victims. Unlike the succubus, the incubus will impregnate his victims with another incubus. The victim will then carry the baby to term, but when she gives birth, the baby appears to be stillborn. It will have no pulse.
And the hands were pushing me against my will, and then I could feel the weight of the body on the top of me. And first I was like very confused with all that, but then I just decided to relax, and it was really, really pleasurable, and I really enjoyed it.
11-year-old boy claims he's being haunted. For the past week, word of the so-called Duppy has caused alarm on Martin Street in Spanish Town. The family says they've tried praying for the boy and taking him to church, but the ghost would only follow them inside, causing havoc, pulling the boy and throwing objects wherever he goes. Our news team was in the neighborhood Wednesday night to witness some of the events that have residents convinced of an otherworldly presence. Watch closely and judge for yourself.
Right now.
You touching your nose?
Yeah.
Still touching you?
Yeah.
They say that's how it's been for the past several days. The boy says the ghost is actually a friend who died 4 years ago. He claims the friend suddenly started appearing to him wearing a white top, black pants and a black watch. It's been nothing but chaos for the family and neighbors.
Him licking him down, him drying him flinging the figurine.
A father admits to killing his own teenage son. The weapon, an axe. Dad's excuse? He tells police his boy was a demon.
He apparently thought his son was going to eat him. It is horrible, it is bizarre, and yet his neighbors say they've known something was off.
He came out of the bushes and he shouted at me, "Excuse me, ma'am."
Several say they'd had strange encounters with the 51-year-old in just the last week. Stories of him rambling about numbers, holding an empty whiskey bottle. Police do say Cheryl shared custody with his ex-wife of their 13-year-old son, David. When Cheryl didn't bring the boy back to his mom's on New Year's Eve, she called the cops to check it out. Davina West could hear the conversation.
Said that he was an ex-Boy Scout leader and he would never hurt any child.
Police kept the questions going until they say Cheryl let them in. That's when they spotted the boy, already dead, sliced with an axe. Detectives say the father confessed, saying he feared his son. He believed the boy was a demon.
Learning activity disrupted. As prayers and exorcism took center stage at Olekirikirai Primary School in Narok County, following a wave of alleged demonic attacks on the pupils. According to the school's head teacher, the first attack was experienced last week when 8 pupils claimed they had been possessed by evil spirits. As if that was not enough, over 50 girls in the school were attacked yet again, this time forcing the neighboring community to intervene through prayers to help restore normalcy in the school.
Tell me your name in the name of Jesus Christ.
Becky Parker says she was possessed by as many as 8 demons over many, many years.
In the name of Jesus. That process, do you remember feeling that there were demons being expelled? Do you remember feeling being liberated, delivered?
I was shaking, I was screaming, I was different languages. So what I know to be true is by me opening that door with the drugs, it gave Satan a way in. It gave him an opening, and it led to devastating things.
So through your victimization, the abuse
Yes.
that you suffered, and then the drug addictions that came out of that, you think a door was opened?
Yes. I know it. I would do things that I wouldn't necessarily do, but so intense that it was like I was almost a puppet.
Did you ever dabble in the occult or invoke the devil or play with witchcraft or anything like that?
Yeah. That was, I did tarot cards for 12 years. these spirits were giving me so much information that they tricked me by thinking I was some type of powerful person. I know what they look like. I know how big they are. I know where they are in my body.
You feel they're still there?
No, they're gone.
How did that happen? Let's talk about that. What was it like to have the priest pray the prayers of deliverance over you?
I hated him. Like, I wanted to hurt him. It took everything for me not to. I was wanting to kick him and spit on him, hurt him and get away from him.
In that process, do you remember feeling that there were demons being expelled? Do you remember feeling being liberated, delivered? Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah.
What was it like?
The first time it happened was the most intense. My body totally collapsed. I never felt that type of relaxation. It was almost euphoric. It was almost like being high.
Is there anything you can say to somebody who's a skeptic of demonic possession?
Pray for the truth. Pray for it to be revealed. Be still. Know that I am God. Isn't that what he says?